we will be going to the US. Yes, that's what we'll be going to, because we'll be talking to the curling team, Nigeria, and their plans for the 2020. It's going to be a big year for them because they're preparing for the Winter Olympics, 2022,
They're
and
trying
of
to
course
qualify for the
Winter Olympics.
That'll be such a big deal.
Yes.
It'll be as big
as the bobsled team also.
If not bigger than the bobsled team qualifying, for the last Olympics in Pyeongchang. And,
absolutely.
I'm very excited, and I hope they can make it. But like you said, we need to get updates from them. They will be telling us what exactly their plans are for this year.
Yeah, absolutely, because the plans are kind of huge. First of all, they'll be going to Turkey. There's a trip they've already confirmed because it's going to be in February, yes, just next month here. And of course, there's also a trip to South Korea in March. That's also part of what they will be doing. They'll also be going to Canada. I mean, the World Curling Federation Annual General Assembly is also there. And they've signed MOU with developed countries that are, traditionally ice a nation in order to actually assist, the federation right here in Nigeria to see how they can really promote the sport. So it's going to be something really big this year because you're looking forward to a whole lot. And we'll be talking with the division director in Nigeria right here, what they're expecting and what they really want to come up with. And that's what we're, looking at. And also the fact that they will be having different clinics across Nigeria this year in Rivers State, Cross River, Abuja. You also have, Oyo, Kwara, and Ondo. And also they will be visiting some secondary school, boys' schools and also girls' schools to actually have a foundation, lay a foundation for this sport to really grow in the country. So some of these things are what we'll be discussing with the division director when he joins us this morning to talk about their plans for 2020. Tayo?
Yeah, can't wait.
We can't wait to actually have them. If they're ready, we can just talk to them now. They'll have to unveil and reveal.
Charles Nymeth.
Yeah, that's the guy we'll be talking with this morning. If you're ready for us, just unveil the plans, what they want to do, and how they intend to achieve this. We understand most times some of these federations will be telling us, okay, no money. Okay, I think they'll join us now all the way from the U.S. Good morning. It's good to have you.
Good morning, and Happy New Year, Teo and Cecilia. Thank you for having me on.
It's great to have you, Charles. Fantastic. Happy New Year to you as well. All right, let's just cut to the chase. Charles, you're the division director of the Nigerian Curling Federation, and you were in Nigeria sometime last year in March. I mean, from your trip, how would you rate the level of interest, for the sports?
Absolutely. I was actually in Nigeria 3 times last year. We had clinics in March and also in July, as you pointed out. And we've been really pleased with the uptake locally. We've seen a lot of interest from the schools as well as some of the other groups like the police. We've had great turnout with over 100 folks coming to the 2 clinics that we had at the National Stadium. So I think we're starting to build that foundation that we're going to need to move forward as we prepare for the Olympics in Beijing 2022.
Okay, talking about moving forward, it's a new year, obviously, and I believe you have your goals already set out for this year. Tell us about some of them.
I think, when we think about our goals going into 2020, there's primarily 3. One is to finalize that vetting and the selection for homegrown teams of Nigerian curlers. We plan to put together a men's and women's team as well as a wheelchair curling team. Secondly, we want to get those teams trained on the ice and ready for international competition. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly, we need to lock in the financial support that's going to be necessary to make those things happen. So those are the big 3 that I see as we enter the new year, Teo and Cecilia.
Okay, those big things. I mean, the first one, which is really key right now, is the trip to Turkey. I mean, the date has been confirmed. It's going to be 12th to 25th of February. Tell us more about the tournament.
Sure. So ultimately, we want to build an ice curling facility in Nigeria so that we can do the training locally. But until that's complete, we're partnering with some of our international partners like Turkey and South Korea, those countries have agreed to make their facilities available to our athletes. So we're planning right now to put together a trip in February, as you mentioned, to bring our teams over to Turkey and be on the ground there on their ice with our staff training our teams.
Okay, I mean, the trip you're going to be making, are we going to be having some maybe players from Nigeria, or how it's going to look like? Or this is just the professional players that will be involved in this one?
Yeah, so we're going to bring 10 or 12 athletes out to Turkey, along with a number of our staff from Nigeria, and myself and my son will be out there as well to help with the training. So we want to get that done in February, and then raise the money necessary to do a subsequent trip to South Korea. And I think once we get the athletes through those 2 training sessions, they'll be ready to go into international qualifying tournaments, so that we can start to earn points for our Olympic spot in 2022. That's the plan.
All right, fantastic plans you've got there. Charles, let's still talk about the development of the sport. Of course, you've created awareness already. That was done all through last year. And we're hearing you have more clinics planned for 2020. Which are some of the states you'll be visiting this time around?
Yeah, so looking at 2020, the first thing we want to do is to continue those training efforts and get a larger network of local Nigerian teams across the country. So as you mentioned, to that end, we have additional clinics planned in 5 states and Abuja as well. We'll also be going to secondary schools to teach curling on their sporting days. And we have a lot of detail on that on our webpage at nigeriacurling.com.
Sounds good. I mean, like different states, to see rivers, Cross River, Abuja included as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good one, because when you're going to be doing this, are you going to involve the government? Because usually when you want to have a project like this, when they are not part of it, it's usually difficult to really get the real people, or rather the grassroots, to be involved in this.
Absolutely. You know, in September, I was in Abuja meeting with government officials about that kind of engagement and the long-term support we're going to need. You know, as I said earlier, one of our key success criteria for this year is going to be locking in that short-term financial support, as well as the longer-term sponsorships we're going to need to get this done. As you know, taking the teams on the road is expensive, right? And we need help. So if anybody watching today on the broadcast wants to find out more about curling in Nigeria, or would like to become a sponsor, again, they can go to our website, nigeriacurling.com. I think we're going to try to put the URL up on the broadcast. And we have a GoFundMe site there that's linked from our homepage. We really need the support, not only from the government, but also at a grassroots level in Nigeria. So please visit our site today. We really need the help to get our plans off the ground.
Very, very, very important. All right.
It is, because it's a huge plan. You know, we're looking through the program you roll out, talking about the trip to Turkey, which you said has been confirmed. There's another one to South Korea, to Italy, to Canada. And of course, the General Assembly that's coming up is September. So this is obviously going to involve money, especially in trying to qualify for the Winter Olympics. Outside the South Korea, the Turkey trip, the one of the South Korea, what's going to look like is just March here.
Yes. So the trips to South Korea and Turkey are primarily for training. From there, we want to get the teams inserted into qualifying tournaments. So they'll actually be competing. And there's a number of those tournaments coming up in 2020. There's several in Europe. There's a few over here in North America, and there's some in the Far East as well in Japan. So once the team's ready to go live in these tournaments, we'll be inserting them into those competitions.
Okay.
All right, fantastic, Charles. Before we let you go, a lot of people are wondering, like, what is your connection with Nigeria? You're actually Nigerian, but can you tell our viewers how Nigerian you are?
Absolutely. I am most definitely a Nigerian. I was born in Port Harcourt, and my family's been active. My family has been active in the country for over 50 years, working to improve the welfare of all Nigerians. And as I said earlier, most recently, my son Chris and I have been in Lagos and Abuja 3 times last year working to move the Curling Federation program forward. So we're looking forward to staying engaged and being back in Nigeria very soon. I would say just in closing that, one of our guiding beliefs is that Nigeria can be very competitive in curling on the world stage.
Right.
We like our chances. We like our chances with a homegrown team that's going to be drawn from this great athletic population in Nigeria. You have to remember that this is a sport traditionally dominated by small Nordic countries. So I really like our chances. I feel like Nigeria has a great legacy of sporting success, and we intend to demonstrate that once again at the Winter Olympics.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Charles Naimeth, for joining us on the show this morning. Really appreciate your time. That's the Division Director of the Nigeria Curling Federation, Charles Naimeth.